Hey everyone, Kevin here from PwnZone Gaming, coming to you today with another Minecraft tutorial. So today we're going to be taking a look at how to make an automated farm in Minecraft. So to give you an idea of how this works, I'll just give you a look at this real quick. This is what we're going to be building today, one of these individual pieces. Now there are ways that you can chain them together and you can even extend them out, which I might be covering in other tutorials. Now, to give you an idea of how this works, basically it exploits the fact that water only travels so far in Minecraft, and water also will saturate ground up to 4 blocks in Minecraft, compiled with some redstone, and basically then it gives you a farm. So I'll show you how this works, then we'll go and jump into making it. So I'll hit my little lever here, and you'll see that it immediately drops some water, breaking down all of the crops, pushes them to the end of here, and then eventually you can come along and pick all that stuff up. So let's go ahead and jump into creating our own. So I have a little plot of land over here set aside to do so. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is basically line this up with our other ones because I want it to look nice in my little area here, and I'm just going to put a hole in the ground. Now what you want to do is count over 10 blocks and put another hole. So this is going to be 1, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is going to be the width of our piece. So it's going to be 10 blocks wide, and 8 blocks is going to make up the section of our crops. So the reason that we're doing this is because our trench is going to be 8 long, so we can go ahead and dig that down. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we can go ahead and go over and do this on the other side. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, like I said before, water will saturate ground up to 4 blocks. So obviously we have 4 blocks here, and then we have 4 blocks on the other side, and so that's going to mean that our entire area right here, when we fill this trench on the side with water, is going to then be saturated and grow fastest. So what we can do then is come to this end part, and I'm just going to switch blocks here so we can have a different color. I'm just going to put 4 of those at the end. So again, you should have 8 blocks down, and then you should have 4 at the end, and I'm just going to do that. Now, there's nothing really special about why we're putting these blocks here, except that it helps us kind of indicate this is going to be the functionality of our automatic farm, and then up here is going to be where we're actually growing things. So this is going to be where we're going to put all of our redstone, so it just kind of helps you keep that stuff separated. So what we're going to do first is put a strip of these blocks right on the middle seam of where our farm is going to be and where our functionality is going to be. So I'm just going to put that down here. Now on top of this, we're going to want to grab our just regular pistons and put those facing forward. So now what we can do is start wiring these up. So I'm just going to come back here with my stone bricks, and I'm just going to go ahead and place this right back here. So behind these stone bricks, the main core functionality of this is going to be our redstone repeaters. So we're just going to put those in back of each of our stone pistons. Now you don't need to put them on any clicks, they can just be put down default. So then after that, we're just going to grab some redstone dust, and we're just going to connect all of those things together. So now we can start building up a little bit more of the structure of this, so you can see how this is going to look more so like these instead of just an opened up redstone mess. So what we can do is just start filling this in. This whole back row isn't going to have any redstone. This is basically just to help encapsulate it, because with this design it does mean that none of our redstone is going to be showing. All the redstone that goes to the switch is underground, and all this redstone is going to be encapsulated in this stone. So I'm just going to basically start filling this around the side, and it kind of helps you because we put this template on the ground here to just start filling that area in. So again, we're just trying to enclose all of our redstone. So once we've done that, we can come over here, and I'm just going to put some redstone across the top of our pistons, and then we need to build the container for the water. So if you look at these, you can see that we have our pistons, which are right underneath here, and then we have our water right there. So we're going to go ahead and build that little container for the water, and that's going to be the heart of how this whole thing works. So we'll just go ahead and build that across, and obviously it's not going to hold any water right now because we need our pistons to be enabled. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some blocks down there, and we should probably fill this with water before we start covering over the top of any of this. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab my water bucket, and I can replace my grain. I don't need that. And we can just fill in this trench with water. Now, I like to make sure that it's all still. It doesn't really matter as long as everything is getting some water. We're going to be all right. So once we do that, we can continue to finish off basically filling this in. So once we've done that, what we're going to need to do is go ahead and test out our redstone functionality. So I'm just going to show you guys the general idea of how this works. So we can continue our redstone down here with some redstone dust, and then I can grab a lever right here and flip this on, and you'll see that our pistons will now come out. So if I go and grab some water, we're going to be able to fill this trench in, and that's what's going to drop down. Now, obviously, I don't want to do that right now because we need to still move our redstone, and I don't want that to spill all over the place. So we can go ahead and cut this down, and the way that we're going to hide this is by putting the torch underneath our block. So in order to power this, we need to dig down right below it, and we need to make sure that there's a block there, and then we can fill this with a redstone torch, and you can see that that will now power this. So we can extend that down a block. So then if we continue down here, you can see that if we put a lever down, we're still going to get the same functionality. So off and then on. So basically that's how we're going to extend that around. So I would recommend not going down the side of where your water is, otherwise you're going to accidentally fill your redstone trench with water. So we're going to go out one extra one. And we're just going to basically build a 2-block deep trench around the outside. You can do this however you want. Some people like to build a trench down in the front here that kind of funnels into where all their stuff can go. It doesn't really matter to me, so I just usually come out a couple of blocks in front of it, and then I'll put the torch, or I'll put the lever somewhere in the middle. So this block right here looks like a pretty good spot, so I'm just going to drop my lever on that, and then we need to dig down and then one underneath the lever. So the way that this is going to work is if we put redstone dust underneath a block in an open space, and then we hit our torch, or hit our lever, sorry, it will then take and activate that redstone dust. So if we turn on and off, that's basically how we're going to get the power all the way around to our piece. So we can then fill our trench with redstone dust all the way around to our other functionality, basically just connecting those two up. So you'll see now if we hit our lever, it's not going to give us the desired effect. It's going to go all the way over here, and then it's going to stop because we need to put a repeater in the middle to extend that current out. So you can see now we have our pistons closed, and if we then hit our lever, we're going to have our pistons opened, and now we can just basically cover this all up. So we're doing a pretty good job of keeping everything nice and clean, making sure that all of our stuff in our town is going to be just perfect. And so now we can just cover all this up. We don't have to worry about cutting off any circuits or anything like that, and then we can just go ahead and fill all of this area in. So I just left it open so that we could kind of see how that functionality was working when we were extending it around. But now we don't need to see it, and we can cover it up. So we'll just fill that all in, and basically our farm is now done. The only thing that we need to do is grab a hoe, and so I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out and search for a hoe. We'll grab that. And then we just need to start hoeing our ground so that we can get it ready for planting. So we'll just hoe this entire thing, and you'll start to see that those patches of it will get darker, and that's because those are becoming saturated by our watering, and it's going to get the whole thing because of that 4-block distance. Now, another reason that this works that I hadn't mentioned already was that water can also travel 8 blocks. So that's the reason that it's going to stop right here at the very end. And this is going to bother me. Anybody else who has, you know, ADD, it's just going to be like, oh, there we go. So we need to clean that up a little bit. So anyway, the water is going to travel down 8 blocks. So it's going to stop right at the very end here, and it's not going to go any further and hit our lever. And so it's just going to deliver everything right to this patch right here. So what we can do is then take and put our seeds in here. And I'm just going to go ahead and speed this up so that you guys don't have to watch this. And then I'm going to also go ahead and grow it so that we can go and test it at the very end. Alright, so after our nice little time-lapse, you can see that I used bone meal in order to grow out our garden. Now, there are 2 little things that we need to do to finish this up, otherwise we're going to not have this work completely. So, one of those things is to fill this with water. Now, of course, make sure that your switch is flicked so that your pistons are extended, otherwise your water is just going to go straight down and mess up everything else that you've done. So, we'll just go ahead and fill that up with water. And the other thing is that we need to create a funnel for all of our stuff. Otherwise, it's not going to go to the end. It's just going to get pushed off onto the sides into this water. So what I prefer to use is stone slab. Now, there is a little bit of an issue with stone slab. Sometimes the water will actually come out so forcefully that it will push up some of your grain or your seeds onto the edge there. Now, I don't really mind coming and grabbing those off the side because like 95% of them still end up at the end. But if that is a problem for you, you can just extend it out with regular. Now, I just do like, again, the aesthetic look of this to kind of give it some variety, so that's what I do prefer. So we'll go ahead and do that on both sides, and then we should be ready to fire this puppy up and see how it works. We'll go ahead and flick our switch, and you can see that it goes and knocks down all of our grain and seeds. And I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of this stuff, put it into my my inventory here so you can see how much stuff that we actually get. So it does take a few seconds for it to push everything down. Sometimes it'll look like it's stuck in there, but it does just take a little bit for it to come down. Now, if you had a bunch of these chained together or you wanted to go do something else, you just hit that and then you come by and you just grab all your stuff. It's pretty nice for that. You can even have like a little system where it will use water to deliver it somewhere else, which is pretty cool. So you can see here that we got all of our grain picked up. This one's glitching out a little bit. So you should get 64 grain and 64 seeds. Now, for some reason, I got 53. Sometimes it does destroy them when it comes out because the water crushes them, or sometimes other little things will happen. But I have gotten 64 by 64 grain before. Sometimes it's a little bit variant depending on certain situations. So basically, this is a great tool to use either in creative or survival. It doesn't take that many resources. You only need a little bit of redstone, a few redstone repeaters, and basically a lever, and you've got yourself a system that you can use to create a lot of farms and sustain yourself for a long time with food. So hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. The rain is now coming down for the end of the tutorial. Basically just flip this off and you're ready to go planting again. So make sure and leave comments down below on what you think. Let me know if you guys want to see how to do these other few farms and any other ideas that you have for Minecraft tutorials. So make sure and click the subscribe button down below. Again, like, rate, comment, all that stuff down below. Check me out on Facebook and Twitter. And until next time, thanks for watching. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to create a 2 wide by 3 tall redstone piston gate. So to get an idea of how this works, we'll walk over these pressure pads. It opens up and closes.